Welcome back to another episode of the Adventures of a Disney Dad podcast. Chip and I are happy to have you guys here. We really appreciate you guys listening. And we're going to jump right into it this week. We got some really interesting news from Walt Disney World, and then we're going to answer your listener questions. You can feel free to email us those at any time, Matt@adventuresofaDisneyDad, or hit us up on social media, and we will jump into those listener questions. We try to clear out the inbox as frequently as we can, but it just kind of depends on the guests on the show and whatnot. But before we get into that, I want to touch really quickly an announcement today from Walt Disney World that Tron Lightcycle Run is going to be switching to a standby queue at the beginning of September. And I think like a lot of us expected this, but we didn't know when it would happen, and there was no hinting about it. We do know Tiana's Bio Adventure is eventually going to be standby. Disney's already announced that. They haven't told us when. Yeah. Tron switching to a standby. Chip, like, you're our rope drop guy. If you have to go and you have to make your decision on where you're rope dropping, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train or Tron, where are you going?
I'm going to Tron. Now that's with my older kids. My younger kids would go to Kelly would probably take them to Seven Dwarfs. I don't fit in Seven Dwarfs. I went and sat in it, and it was my butt didn't touch the ground. I was like, oh, this isn't going to fit, and I got out. So, but I would go to Tron. I'm not shocked that I'm surprised it took this long to make it a standby.
You know what? So this is interesting, right? People have been rope dropping Seven Dwarfs Mine Train for 10 years now, right? Yeah. Because that's been the top priority. You either go there, you go to Peter Pan's Flight, and that's pretty much it. This is kind of going to create a new dynamic. And I think what's interesting is it's definitely going to change the way rope drop strategy works and how the crowds kind of disperse at rope drop.
Yeah.
But the real question becomes, what happens throughout the rest of the day to wait times? And there's a lot of people that seem to believe, and I talked about this a little bit on Instagram this evening, a lot of people seem to believe that it's going to make the top attractions like Seven Dwarfs Mine Train kind of have lower wait times. And I think it's going to be the opposite. So from my perspective, it's going to take those people that were going to Big Thunder or Haunted Mansion throughout the day, Jungle Cruise, and I think it's going to spread them out amongst the higher demand attractions. So now there's going to be lower wait times for the mid-tier and lower tier stuff. And more people are going to be spread out over Peter Pan's Flight, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, Tron, and all those wait times are going to be about the same. That's the way I think it's going to play out. What do you think, Chip?
I'm thinking Tron's going to be like Slinky Dog. It's going to be at I'm just talking about the wait time wise. If it's going to be 60 plus minutes, no matter what. Like,
I can see that.
If you see less than 60 minutes, I would hop in line right now because it's going to be.
I think the capacity on that ride is higher, though. That's the difference. I think that they get people through that ride a lot quicker because it's a shorter ride.
Yeah, but but what about, do you go along? Is it more Pandora? Is it going to be like Avatar?
It's going to be long regardless. Yeah, I mean, I think we can agree with that.
It's going to be the longest wait in Magic Kingdom until they do Tiana's. And once Tiana's opens, I still think Tron's going to be the longest line.
I mean, I still think that the majority of those rides are going to be anywhere from 45 to 120 minutes, depending on when you go, what time of year. Tron, Tiana's, and Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. The biggest thing that I think is like the X factor in all of this is, are they going to keep it an individual lightning lane, or are they going to move it to a tier 1 of multipass? Just being honest, Magic Kingdom needs more tier 1 of multipass.
Yeah.
And Walt Disney World as a whole needs more multipass selections, less individual lightning lanes. But they've kept Seven Dwarfs Mine Train an individual lightning lane forever. So my anticipation is they're going to keep it as an individual lightning lane, because Rise of the Resistance is still available as an individual lightning lane. Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, I don't think they're going to want to give up that revenue. I think they're going to keep it that way. But I do think that that's going to be a huge X factor for the value of multipass, right?
Yeah.
If Tron and possibly Tiana's Bio Adventure are part of multipass, I think those, make it more valuable. And I think that'll be really interesting to see, because we haven't seen multipass in a popular time of the year. And it's already like several days out. You can't get Slinky Dog. So I think, we need more attractions there. But
When
I don't know.
now here's the next question. This is kind of predicting the future. What do you think's next to fall for virtual queue? Is it going to be Guardians or is it going to be Tiana's?
I think it'll be Tiana's because I think Tiana's will move to multi-pass and standby is my guess.
That's my guess too. Yeah, I was thinking that too.
I'm okay with virtual queue. Like I've never, knock on wood, I've never not gotten virtual queue. So like I'm okay with it. And in reality, it's basically a standby line. Like you go to Guardians of the Galaxy with virtual queue or Tron, you're still waiting 45 minutes.
You know, the one that wasn't that bad, honestly, and I thought it was going to, and I asked the worker, said, how long is it going to be? They said 45 minutes, and it was literally 10, 15 minutes at most, was Tiana's.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the first week it was open. I didn't get it the first time, but I got it 2 days in a row. So I would say it's not really that big of an issue. I don't mind that one going towards away from individual lightning lane too.
The concern with Tiana's is that I think every day since it's been open, it's been down. Yeah. And the downtime, can really screw things up with multi-pass, individual lightning lanes, or standby. Like if it's down every day for an hour or two at least, it just kind of creates problems in that regard. And also, like, I think that they're still not filling up the logs all the way because of the weight issues. So, it lowers the capacity and their ability to get people through the standby. We know with Tron, they can pump people out.
Yeah.
But we've talked about that a little bit enough. So just know that it's going to switch to standby in September. And I think it's a welcome change. It's going to be good for everybody. And we'll keep an eye on the wait time data. And we really want to jump into the listener questions. And one of the questions that I get most frequently from guests that are going to Walt Disney World, especially this time of year in the fall, we talked a lot about Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party on last week's show, but I get this question a lot, so I wanted to address it, and I just wrote an article about it on adventuresofaDisneyDad.com, which is wait times during the day of a party. Chip, and you and I have talked about this at length because it applies to Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party and Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. So if you're not a Halloween guy and you got your Christmas tree up, like Chip, I think your wife's like ready to put her Christmas tree up.
You know what's funny? That almost she said we got to wait at least a month and a half. So
there you go.
We're close.
So if you're not in Halloween and you're going to the Christmas party, this applies at the same time too. In general, the question is, what are wait times like at Magic Kingdom on the day of a party at Magic Kingdom? Because we know that you have to be out of Magic Kingdom by 6 or 7 p.m. The party usually, the people can enter at 4 p.m. So everyone wants to know, is it worth my money to waste a park ticket or use a park ticket at Magic Kingdom that day if I have to be out by 4 p.m.? And the answer is absolutely yes. The recommendation is you should do this with Park Hopper because you're going to get more value out of it, right? Yeah. Park Hopper is not nearly as expensive as just an extra day of park tickets. So you can go to Magic Kingdom in the morning, ride a lot of rides, get a lot done, and then at 4 p.m. when the crowds start to come in for the party, you can head out and go to Hollywood Studios, go to Fantasmic, have dinner, go to Epcot, go drink around the world, whatever you want to do. But the upshot is wait times, and it's consistent this year because I ran the numbers for wait times for the parties that have happened so far for Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. The wait times are lower at Magic Kingdom during the day of a party. And the reason is people that are going to the party are not coming to the park in the morning. They're only using, the money that they spent for $180, $200 to go to the party. They're coming in at 4 o'clock. They're staying late. They're not having their kids waste time in the parks in the morning. The people that are going to be there are the people that have Park Hopper, like we just said, or annual pass holders.
Correct.
So, they're going to pop in, ride some rides. And, it's pretty consistently, you're going to wait about half the time. So 15 to 20 minutes max for almost all the rides at Magic Kingdom.
And I think going with that, if you're a person that's got 4-day tickets, the price to go to a 5-day ticket just for that day is minimal at best. I mean, and it's day 3 to 4 is a little bit more expensive, but once you get to 4 and so on, it's worth it. I mean, it's like $20 a person, and especially if you've got Park Hopper, it's 100% worth it.
And that's exactly what we did with our family, right? When we're going in September, the day of the Halloween party, we went from 4 tickets to 5 tickets, specifically because we will go to a park and we'll go to Magic Kingdom the morning of the party. We won't stay as long because we'll want to get the kids back and rest. before we actually go to the party, because we're going to go to the party ourselves. Yeah. But on the days that, there is a party on our vacation that we're not going to, we're absolutely going to prioritize Magic Kingdom in the morning and then park hop to a different park. One other thing that you should keep in mind, though, is that the other parks are a little bit busier usually because people aren't wasting their park day at Magic Kingdom. So you might see a little higher wait times at Animal Kingdom in the morning, Epcot, or Hollywood Studios in the morning, just because not as many people are going to Magic Kingdom. But I think that's a really important hack for anybody going this time of the year, especially October, because it seems like there's a party like almost every day.
I would, going with the rope drop theme, is don't be afraid to rope drop. If you're not going to the party and you don't, and that's an early night, rope drop Magic Kingdom the next day, because that first couple hours it might be dead, or rope drop whatever was the big park that was busy the day before, because maybe all those people then are going to Magic Kingdom. So that's my kind of big tip, is rope drop the day after a party. It's the same thing they always say about like after hours events or like the extended evening hours. Always rope drop that park the next day, because most of the people aren't going to be there.
And a lot of this stuff is like tried and true, really. Like this trick or tip has been the same and it's consistent. We check the data every year because I'm a nerd and I love looking at that stuff. But it still consistently works every time. Those lower wait times. And then you'll see right at 4 p.m. when people start to come in is when the rides uptick. And what happens is that people like don't leave Magic Kingdom until 7 p.m. because that's when the party really gets started. So from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. is the highest wait times of the day at Magic Kingdom for a party day, because all the people that are going to the party are in the parks and all the people that don't have to have a party ticket are still in the parks. And then the wait times drop for the party. And I will scream this from the mountaintops. When you go to these parties, don't expect walk-on rides because the wait times are going to be low. But honestly, you're going to get probably better wait times during the day at Magic Kingdom than you will at the party, depending on what time you're dealing with it.
And that 7 to 8 block too is going to be crowded as well, because you got those people that jumped in line at 6:55, 6:59, and they're allowed to ride until 7 o'clock. So they can wait in line, and they'll be walking out of the park at 8:30, 9 o'clock. But they were waiting in line for 2 hours in Tron or whatever it is. So
right, exactly. So the next listener question that we got this week was to rank the best character meet and greets at each park. So Chip and I are each going to give one of our favorites from each park. Chip, we're going to start with Epcot. What is your favorite character meet at Epcot?
So Epcot's, personally, I think it's the best face character. In terms of meeting like the princesses, we love my daughters love to meet Belle over in France. Just kind of, she's out right in front of before you walk into Ratatouille. A lot of times she's in the blue dress or whatever it is, but we love just going to Epcot and walking around the world and meeting princesses that are in their countries. But I'm going to say Belle, but Epcot is the face. If you want to meet face characters, it's the place to go. And I'm going to throw a sidebar with this. Acker Shoes for breakfast is worth it with girls. They get to meet their princesses. They spend a lot of time with you. The food it's not Norwegian food. It's normal breakfast food, and it was delicious. So, but I don't want to say, I know exactly what you're going to pick.
I don't know that you do.
Well,
we'll see.
All right. Well, I think I know what you're going to pick, but I would just say the face characters, they're all over a world showcase. So that's kind of my thing. That's what I would say is that's probably the best character meet.
I still feel like Epcot is the best park for character meet and greets if your kids are into that, particularly for girls or boys that are into princesses. It is the spot for meeting the princesses without question, and the wait times are not crazy. Chip, you probably are right that you were going to guess mine. And it's kind of a cop out because to me it's like the best one overall, and it's Anna and Elsa.
Oh, I wasn't thinking that.
Oh, what did you think?
I always forget about Anna and Elsa. We met them this summer, and I always forget. I thought you were going to say, what's her name from Wish?
Asha,
yeah.
I was going to give Asha a shout out as an honorable mention, and it's because the Asha, like, number one, Wish is an underrated movie. If you've listened to our show for a while, you know how I feel about that. Asha's like Wish is just, it's so great. And the Asha character, like the character actresses that play her, no matter, like I've seen several of them and they're all so good.
Yeah.
And like they do such a great job. And I just think it's an awesome character meet. But the number one is Anna and Elsa. And
I always forget about it. I always forget about it every time.
Yeah, it's usually got to wait, right? Like it's 20 to 45 minutes, I would say. But you get to go to the summer cottage. You get to meet them both in the character meet. So it's like you're not meeting them together. It's two different photo opportunities.
Yeah.
So they help kind of move things through. But the character interaction and the quality of that character meet and going through their summer house is fantastic. So I would definitely recommend that one. But all the princesses are great.
I will tell you, if the line is not out the door, go, because it's not going to be whatever they say. Even if they say 10 minutes, it's probably a walk on, because it said 40 minutes and we were in there within 8 minutes. It was unreal, and it said 40-minute wait.
Hey, my spiel about that is that, like, I don't care how long the wait is, it's worth it. There are very few character meets where I say that. Mirabelle is another one, and we'll talk about, Magic Kingdom a little bit later. But Anna and Elsa, like, I don't really care what the wait is, because you get two characters. I think it's absolutely worth it. And so definitely check that one out. But really, all the princesses, there's a lot of really good characters. Mickey and Friends over by Communicore Hall is great. There's lots of character options at Epcot.
And going with Anna and Elsa, when you walk out, there's the Sven picture frame thing. The guy literally took a photo shoot with my daughters. He's like, there's nobody here. They were in there for 20 minutes. He was just taking pictures. They were holding different things. And
yeah, it's a fun one for sure. Switching over to Hollywood Studios. Chip, what's your number one?
Sorcerer Mickey, and you meet Minnie as well.
That's another double dip, which is great.
And it's kind of a little tight space, because they kind of share a hallway. But you meet Minnie and then going to meet Sorcerer Mickey, because you don't always see that. And that's a big Hollywood Studios thing, but that's probably my favorite Mickey to meet. I know I said Main Street Mickey before, but after meeting Sorcerer Mickey, he's 100% my favorite one to meet.
That's definitely a good one. You got to make sure you meet Mickey at one of the parks before you head out, and he is available at all of them.
What are you in Hollywood Studios?
This one is probably the toughest for me because there's so many really good ones. But for me, it's not even a question. At the very top is Darth Vader.
Okay, that's true.
The Darth Vader character meet. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. The Darth Vader character meet is awesome. Like he just is as intimidating as you would expect him to be in the movies. He's huge. Like the suit, the way he talks and interacts with adults and kids is very in character. It's awesome. Honorable mentions would go to like Chewbacca, in my opinion. The Mandalorian and Grogu is not like a formal character meet, but that's a really good one.
And going with Mandalorian, don't wait in line. Just stand around and he calls you up.
Yeah, you can't wait in line. You can't wait in line.
No, like you just stand there and watch him, and then he'll call you up. And he called Bear up and Kenzie, and spent like 5 minutes, and like they're looking at Grogu, and he's asking them questions. It was really cool. And then he went back, and then walked somebody. Like there was this huge crowd, and then he walked away. It was great.
And that's the big thing too. Like if you're eager and you're like asking, he will not interact with you. And it's very interesting. Like, and in fact, like he'll tell you to get away.
Yeah.
Like if you go up and try and stand with him when he's waiting and talking to other people, he will tell you to get away. So it's not a guarantee, even if you wait and watch adults, kids, doesn't matter what age, like it's not a guarantee you're going to get a photo with him. And it's very sporadic, but definitely don't try and be like over eager or anything like that. Cause I've seen him like get angry at like adult guests that were like trying to, get up on him and touch him without him calling them up first. So keep that in mind too. And it's the same, like Kylo Ren and the Stormtroopers, like they're not standing around to take pictures with you, but sometimes they kind of will. But it's more to interact. Rey will take pictures with anybody pretty much.
Yep.
But it's the same thing. She's wandering around. She's not necessarily like standing, people waiting in line for her kind of thing in terms of a traditional character meet. So Hollywood Studios has a lot of great ones. Switching over to Animal Kingdom, not as many options here. Chip, what would be your top one?
There are some unique characters, like Pocahontas is on there. But I love to go in to see Chip and Dale over at Dino Land. Obviously, my name being Chip, you don't always get to meet Chip and Dale, and you were part of that, Matt, and it was awesome.
It's a fun interaction.
Because who else was there? Was a loop of them, and we just saw Chip and Dale, but somebody else, and then Donald was around the corner as well, and somebody else, I forget.
It was Donald. Donald was the one that I remember. I don't remember there being another one, but they're wearing their dinosaur Halloween costumes, and I don't anticipate that character meet is going to be around much longer. So, you got to get it while you can. For me, the favorite at Animal Kingdom is Moana. Yeah. Pocahontas gets an honorable mention because she's harder to find. Moana you can meet also at Epcot, and you can see her in the parades at Magic Kingdom. But Moana has a great character meet at Animal Kingdom, and that's the one that we've done and really enjoy.
The best one is when you see one of the I don't want to say handler, but the cast member that's with them, and then you see Divine, like you don't see her. And then and that's pretty cool too.
I like that one is like never like Divine. And what Chip's talking about is like she's basically dressed as a tree, as a camouflage tree, and it's really impressive the way she manipulates herself so that she like blends in with the nature, and you have to like be paying attention to see her. You have to see her move, and it's really impressive. The other one is Kevin, like. Those ones, like they've never like done it for me in that sense. But like as much as like some old school Disney fans like just really love those characters, but it's not been my thing. But moving on because we've got lots of listener questions. The Magic Kingdom, Chip. What's your top character meet at Magic Kingdom?
It's probably the princesses at the Royal Princess Hall.
Princess Fairy Tale Hall.
Yes. And I would say the Rapunzel one, not the Cinderella one. I think it's Tiana and Rapunzel, because Elena of Avalar's in there, and it's probably time for a new character in there. Mm-hmm. They stopped making that show a long time ago, so that's kind of the one I would.
Kids still love it though, and it's crazy, but kids still love it. My kids weren't into it, but there are kids out there that still love that show.
My daughters watch it, but it's still, they haven't made a new episode in five years.
I was talking to somebody about this the other day, and not to get off on a tangent, but the same goes for Vampirina. Vampirina was my daughter's favorite show when she was like 2 and 3, and I still love Vampirina. Vampirina's like Bluey. Like if Haley walks away out of the room, I would still keep watching Vampirina. And they don't make it anymore, but I would be devastated if they got rid of her at Hollywood Studios, which they might, depending on what they do with that courtyard. But my pick for Magic Kingdom would be Mirabelle. And I think, sometimes at the party you can meet her with Bruno also. There's some talk of some of the other characters being added as meet and greets. But I think Mirabelle is awesome. The interactions that she has with kids, and you're in the casita, and they've done a really good job with like the staging and stuff back there. And also, in a weird way, it's tucked to the right of Cinderella's Castle when you're looking at it before you get to Cosmic Rays. Yeah, like there's not a lot of people that line up for it. Like it ends up being
I always forget it's there because it's right by Cheshire, Cattail, like that strip. It's where I go to rope drop. I see it every time I rope drop. And dude, it goes along. I didn't realize Winnie the Pooh was there for the first like 5 years I went to Disney. I'd always walk past it. So
they tuck the line up towards Magic Kingdom and not towards the walkway towards Cosmic Rays. So you don't see the line. You just see there's just a little sign there, and you can see the doors to the casita. Which is I think it's great, but you still end up waiting like 30 to 45 minutes because she does such a good job of interacting with kids and stuff. So I think that's my top one, but really there's a lot of good ones at Magic Kingdom, and we could do a whole episode on character meets at Magic Kingdom because there's just a lot of really great ones. But moving on to the next listener question, and this kind of goes what we talked about before, is a park ticket worth it for a half day? And this is in reference to a travel. It could be a travel day. Like when you get in, is it worth going from like 2 p.m. to close after you landed? Is it worth it? Park days in the morning, like when there's a party that evening and you have to be out. You don't have park hopper. Got to be out by 5 or 6 o'clock. Or on a travel day home where you've got to be at the airport at let's say 3 or 4 o'clock. Are you rope dropping and going until noon? So is it worth it to buy a park ticket for a half day at Walt Disney World? Chip, what do you think?
I go yes on the travel in day, probably not on the travel out day. Just because traveling in, your room may not be ready in that terms. And then leaving, you got to be out of your room by like noon, and you can't really get a late checkout very, very well at Disney. And so having everything packed and just being a very packing person, it's like, hey, let's just get it and go. But also take into factor, did you get up at 4 a.m. to get there?
Right.
If you're leaving,
how much are you pushing your kids?
Yeah, if you're getting up your normal time and you're landing in Orlando at 3:30, and that they traveled like a normal school day, then yeah, go for sure.
Yeah.
It might change. Maybe my opinion will change, I guess, based on your check-in day of next year using the water park. But I would lean towards it. Yes, travel day before parties. Yes.
I agree with Chip here, and I do think that the big question mark is: are you going to be able to get to a water park in 2025? For those that don't know, you get water park access for free when you stay at a Walt Disney World resort in 2025. So, if you're getting in early, go to the water park and take advantage of that for free. But for us, like we don't typically like to travel super early in the morning. Like we'll do like an 8 a.m. or a 10 a.m. flight, and then we're getting in at like 11 noon, getting to the room 1 o'clock. And usually I always tell people the room is never going to be ready when you get there. Like it just, if it happens, it's like you won the lottery, go buy a lottery ticket. Cause it never works out that way for the majority of my guests. It's always going to be 3 or 4 o'clock. Sometimes it's even later, but 3 or 4 o'clock is when your room's going to be ready. Then you can kind of count on that. So like go drop your bags at Bell Services, go to Disney Springs. If you want to go to a park, but to a Chip's point at the beginning of this episode, if you're moving from 4 days to 5 days or 5 days to 6 days of tickets, it is not that expensive to add another day of park tickets.
Yeah.
When you're going from 2 to 3 or 3 to 4, it's more expensive. But once you get beyond, like when you've got 4 days of park tickets and you want to add one more, it really does not make much of a dent in your travel and vacation budget. So if you can get an extra 3 or 4 hours of a park day, I'm all for it. I do it with my kids and my family, and I highly recommend it. I think that's
and we this past trip we did it. We didn't go to the park until 7 o'clock at night after dinner, and we went for 2.5 hours and we were out. I mean, it's just like, yeah, let's go do the people mover, let's go do the carousel and see the fireworks, and we're out. Like that was just kind of it's. But we had a 7-day, so that take it for what it is, I guess.
Yeah, well, and it also depends on the makeup of your party a little bit too, right? Like if you got little kids, you're less likely to pull this off. If you've got adults, teenagers, like getting to the park at 7 p.m. or 6 p.m. and like hanging out until it closes can be a bigger deal. Or if it's like your one night to be able to see Fantasmic or Happily Ever After, like it can absolutely work out to be worth it. So all that said, I think we both recommend it in a lot of circumstances, but it just depends on what your vacation is. So thank you for the question. Yeah. Next, is December a good time to visit Walt Disney World? Chip, where does December, we've ranked the months. Where does December rank for you?
Very high. Very high, especially early December. Now, that's my retirement. When I retire, I plan on being in Disney World in early December.
You and I are going to be in December. Our wives are going to be somewhere warm, and you on a beach, and you and I are going to be picking up trash at Magic Kingdom.
100% we are. But I would go early December, especially when kids are in school. That's kind of the thing, because then you get to see all the Christmas decorations and all of that. So I think it's a great time, especially, listen, 70 degrees, 60 degrees. I am wearing a t-shirt and I'm wearing shorts. And then in the evening, I'll put on a hoodie. That's that's a perfect, my kind of day.
I think December is great. But I will say you've really got to think through whether or not you want to go that week between Christmas and New Year's.
Yeah, don't go that.
It is unquestionably, it is the most crowded, and people are surprised by this, Chip. Like, a lot of people hear a lot of things about spring break or whatever. The busiest time at Walt Disney World is the week between Christmas and New Year's, and you've got to be prepared for those kind of crowds when doing that. But also, to Chip's point, the first couple of weeks of December, the deals right now at Walt Disney World are like as good, if not better, than the prices you could have gotten before the pandemic.
Wow.
They're giving you basically 30 to 35% off with if you buy 4 days of tickets, you get free park hopper. Yeah. There's less room availability now because we're getting closer to December, but man, there are some really good promotions to be able to go in December. And that happens pretty consistently every year. Like September, October, November, and December, you're going to get some pretty good deals. But when you get into December, you get the Christmas party access, you get the decorations, a lot of the fun stuff that, you know, your family's really going to enjoy. I love it.
And go with that, being nerds that we are. It's not because Disney's fiscal year ends December 31st. No, they are October 1st through September 30th. So financially, that's the first quarter of their fiscal year. So they're just doing it because that's probably their dead time.
Yeah, and in reality, it is. Like, outside of Halloween and the week of Thanksgiving in November, all the way up to Christmas, like the parks are going to be lower capacity, and you're going to be able to get a lot because kids are in school. I mean, that's the reality of it. Like, kids are in school. There's not as many breaks, not as many holidays in there, and so you can get some really good deals. And speaking of deals, our next question was, when do deals come out for January? We should be getting those in the next, I would say probably within the next 4 to 6 weeks. And I think they're going to be some really good ones. We've talked on this show about Disney having a little bit of trouble getting people in the parks right now. The economy, it is what it is. We talked with Rachel Cruz about it. It's a presidential election year that has an impact on people's spending. A lot of people are less eager to travel, less eager to spend large amounts of money, all those things that are outside of the scope of two Disney dads, chatting about that stuff.
Yeah.
But all that said, I think that you're going to see as good, if not better, deals than what we saw for the fall. And so that's probably going to be 30 to 35% off. And then I would expect, since they just did the free park hopper, I'm thinking that they're going to do a free dining plan.
Yeah,
that's my guess.
I was leaning towards that as well.
Yeah. That's a good deal, man.
Yeah.
It's a good deal. People hate on the dining plan, but that's a good deal.
And the parks aren't busy, but the cruises, man, those have been packed.
Yeah.
Because a couple of years ago when Kelly and I did ours, it was go on a cruise, take 2 kids for free. They're not doing that anymore.
The Disney Cruise Line, and people are saying, like the revenge travel bubble is over and all this other stuff. Disney Cruise Line is popping. And so like it is not something that like people are like, oh, Disney's so expensive, yada yada yada. Disney cruises are expensive too, and they are still full. Yep. So like it's not a thing against Disney. It's just to me it's a weird anomaly. It's not people that don't want to travel to Florida or don't want to travel to California for political reasons or whatever. It has nothing to do with that, in my opinion. But nonetheless, it's really interesting. And I do think there's going to be some great deals in January. They just announced great deals at Alani for the beginning of next year. Ooh. And so I'm really expecting them to come out with some good stuff. And you really think about it, the free dining plan, even if they did it like just for kids, is like typically a better deal than getting free park hopper in terms of money, right?
Yes, 100%.
Like, and if they give it for free for adults, I mean, that's basically $100 a day per adult. That's a solid promotion. So we'll see. That's just speculation.
If you're one of those that was going to do the dining plan anyways, I mean, there's a plus. But if you're one of those that, hey, I don't know, do it and don't be afraid to pay the difference and maybe go up just to the basic dining plan so you get a sit down and a quick service. You can try a different meal. It's probably costing you a third of what it would have cost if you would have gone just the regular dining plan anyways.
And as a quick plug, we have a dining plan calculator on adventuresofadisneydad.com, right? So we know from if you go and you mess around with that calculator, you put in the days of your vacation, it's really easy to use. it'll spit out whether or not the dining plan, quick service or table service, will save you money. And in reality, without any discount whatsoever, if you have 2 kids and you're going for more than like 3 days, usually the dining plan is going to save you money.
Yes.
And especially when you consider, the refillable mugs and all that fun stuff. So when you add in a discount, it pretty much always makes the dining plan a no-brainer. And you just read so much stuff about the dining plan getting a bad rap. Like when you actually do the math, which this calculator will do for you, the dining plan usually makes sense, especially if there's a promotion. So if you have kids, keep that stuff in mind. But it's going to be really interesting to see how that plays out. And, as always, whether it's me or anybody else, if you use a travel agent, we're going to make sure that those discounts get applied for you automatically. So you can get your room on hold now. And then if those discounts come out, we're going to put them on your package without you having to worry about it. And we keep an eye out for that stuff for you. You won't get discounts for like the marathon weekend, Martin Luther King weekend. Yeah, like some of those holidays. But if you're traveling spring break, you probably won't get discounts. But if you're traveling any other time in January, February, I think you're gonna see a good deal here soon.
Matt, that kind of leads me to my next question. Labor Day weekend this past weekend was dead, right?
Labor Day weekend traditionally, and this is because Chip and I are data nerds, right? We watch this stuff. Labor Day weekend is traditionally the slowest holiday at Walt Disney World, and it continued to be the slowest holiday at Walt Disney World. And Chip, you know this because you're a teacher.
Yeah. People
don't want to miss like the first week of school. That's what it is.
Well, unless you're in Oregon coaching a football game.
Well, right. If you like Chip and you're out coaching a football game, but he's a teacher, he's not pulling his kids out. Like
no.
That's what it really comes down to. Like most schools, like we started the 3rd week of August. Even my son started preschool. Like you don't want to miss those first couple days, that first week. Like I had curriculum night tonight for my daughter. Like you've got all this parent teacher stuff going on. You want to get into the flow of things, and it's tough to like pull your kids out of school that week. But if you can, or if you don't have kids in school, or even if you just pull off the late Thursday, late Friday, and you come back Monday night and you don't miss any school, it's a good weekend if you want to be able to get a lot of attractions done and at a good price, because there's a lot of good deals for Labor Day. And that leads to our last listener question that we're going to talk about. Chip, I want you to give me your favorite holiday for a family trip to Walt Disney World.
You know what? I go 4th of July. I'm not going to say 4th of July. It's so hot. It is. And it's been dead the last 2 years, Matt. It's not been like Magic Kingdom's busy as all get out, but everything else was pretty quiet. If I'm looking at my holiday, I'm probably leaning towards spring break. But if I'm going for the holiday decorations, I'm leaning towards Thanksgiving. That's probably the weekend I would go if you're giving me any schedule. If being a teacher, I'm probably leaning towards spring break because mine doesn't always fall on Easter. We're always the last week of March, so that is what it is. But if I'm not a teacher, I'm going Thanksgiving, and I'm hoping I'm going to catch some of those Christmas decorations. Being at our former school, we were out that whole week of Thanksgiving, if you remember that. We used to get that whole week off, so that's probably where I would lean towards. Obviously, Christmas is where you really want to be there, but the crowd is too much for me. I would go Thanksgiving.
Yeah, and I think this question was specific to like a weekend trip or like being there on the actual holiday. So spring break's a good one. Christmas, like if you're going to go on Christmas Day, there's too many people, and myself included, that I want to be at home on Christmas Day. I think I would love to try it once where I'm at Magic Kingdom Christmas Day, but
I'm checking out the 26th then.
Well, right. There's too many traditions that you have at home where you want to see your kids at home under your tree. Yeah. And it's a little bit different. I had a family member, her whole family, they used to go to Mexico for Christmas, and they would take their gifts and open them in Mexico. And I think that's a great tradition. It's unique, whatever. It's something you can pass along, but it's not really my thing. So for me, and it's a little busier, but my favorite holiday to go to Walt Disney World for a holiday weekend is Martin Luther King weekend. And that's because I think January is a great month to go to Walt Disney World. It's not too hot. It's that the shorts and hoodie in the evening. A lot of times the crowds are not too bad, which I think is great. You can get some good deals, and you're not going to have to take the kids out of school for very long. But all that said, like I think New Year's Day would get New Year's Eve and New Year's Day would get an honorable mention for the same reasons.
Yeah.
But if I'm talking decorations, like Chip, I want to mention this. If I'm using the decorations, it's Halloween. I've gotten to the point now where I want to take my kids for Halloween. We go in September or beginning of October. But if I'm going for the decorations for just a Halloween or for a season, for me, it's Halloween.
So one thing kind of going with your Martin Luther King President's Day, like in our district or districts up here, most of the time kids get off Friday and Monday because that's like an end of the quarter type of situation. So that's also might be a good time, but then you're also going to get Festival of the Arts. And I think that's one of the better things that happens at Epcot. So one of the better festivals. So
yeah, and we should probably talk about food and wine a little bit on the next episode because I think it's a little underwhelming this year. But putting that aside, that's going to wrap it up for us this week. We really appreciate it. If you could like, rate, and review the podcast on any platform, we would greatly appreciate it. As always, I'm a free travel agent with the Magic for Less Travel. I would love to help you plan your next Walt Disney World or Universal Orlando vacation or your Disney cruise or your cruise with Royal Caribbean. I can do it all. I would love to help you plan it, and my services are free to use. So feel free to reach out. All the links to get a quote are in the show notes. All the links to connect with us on social media, both Chip and I, are going to be in the show notes. Links to the latest articles on adventuresofdisneydad.com, all that fun stuff. Amazon storefront, I'm going to include that there too. If you want to help the podcast click through anything on Amazon, it goes directly to support the show and everything we do at adventuresofdisneydad.com. So we greatly appreciate it. And until then, until next week, we'll see you in the parks.
We'll see you when we see you.
All right.